Yeah. Alrighty. Okay, I'm recording. Okay, so let's just do like a nice, very casual chat about meal planning and like our top tips, for each other. And, keeping in mind that we have a lot of new people in our group that are not on right now, but they will be watching this. And, like to us now, everyone that's on here has been doing this for a while. So it's like you take it for granted. But like if you think back to when you started, you like never planned anything, you would plan your meal for that night, 4 p.m. and then cook it. And then if you had extras, great for lunch. And if not, whatever, you winged it. So, let's just like kind of go back and like think of like the things that we do that we take for granted, but are huge time savers. So all of this is basically saving time, keeping things simple, right? So a lot of people have started 80 day. And to me, it's been a learning curve because I could, you can imagine 2.5 years of doing that same nutrition plan and teaching it to so many people. Virginia, it's like common cold. Switching it all up, like, wait, what do you mean? It's been a huge learning curve, just like knowing my times. Like today, alarm didn't go off, so I had to like study the damn thing, like, oh my God, when am I going to eat this? And I read it, I'm like a lunatic, right? So it's good because it makes you remember what it was like at the beginning when you were stressing out over all the containers and everything. So I just want to keep it simple. I know that a few of you already, like we've talked and you know what you're going to share. So I'm just going to share like the top things off the top of my head that come up to me. I'm a little loopy. It's late. So number one tip is keep it as simple as possible. Like Stuart, and just the recipes that you love and that you're stick to that. Change the ingredients if you need to, the way you cook it, make it double, triple. Like now is the time to cook as if you had a family of 10, because certain things just freeze well. And like beans, we had beans cooked last week, and so it's just simple little things like, okay, there's my yellow, so keeping it simple. Yes, we have tons of recipes. I mean, you go online and you can be there forever and every single day try something new, but why are you going to do that? That's not the point of this. Like, why are you going to do that to yourself? So if you get bored and you want to experiment and do one new thing or something a week, go for it, but not at the expense of you get so overwhelmed or it just takes up so much time that then everything else, you don't plan anything else because you were so stressed out over that one meal, right? And that's happened to me. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to make this and this. And I'm so excited. And then it takes forever. And then I can't do anything, or I'm eating at 9 o'clock at night. My daughter's like going crazy because she's starving. It's horrible. So I've learned to just simplify. The other thing that I was going to say, and I forgot. Oh, okay. So pick some sort of meal planner. I know we all do this, but this is the one that we've been using for a long time. It's in our group under the files. This says 21 Day Fix Planning Tools. This one's great because it has all the little color containers. And, but I've run across people that don't have like a color printer at home. And then, I was just helping one of our new people and I had to like color it in with a marker. And I'm like, this is crazy. No, just get a sheet of paper. Like, you don't have to go crazy. Some people are OCD and love the colors and all that. But honestly, I've done it in the car. That's the other thing. You can make your meal plan anywhere. I've done it in the car while my husband's driving. I get a sheet of paper that I find anywhere. I've done it on a napkin. And I just write, my days. And I just write B for breakfast, S for snack, L for lunch. And I just do it really quick. My best tip is to plan the meal that is the most complicated, or requires the most ingredients, the most containers. To me, that's the dinner one. I do that one first because that kind of sets the tone for what else you're missing. So that if you're having, a red, a green, a yellow, whatever, a blue, maybe you're doing Taco Tuesday or something, and you're going to have your blue container, you're going to have a yellow, you're going to have a red, you're going to have a green. Well, then you already know now, okay, I have all these other containers left for the day. Where I find if you start with your other things, then you're stuck with like, oh, wait, I didn't use all my containers, and then you have to go back and rearrange everything. So I would do the biggest meal first, the most complicated one, and the one that's going to yield leftovers for the next day, which is my next tip. Always, always, always make enough for the next day, always. And you guys have probably seen, like sometimes I share pictures, like I just did it again. I do it every day, but I never used to do this before. Before I used to serve everyone dinner, we would eat, and then I would go back and serve all the leftovers, and then I'm stuck in the kitchen forever, leftovers, doing the dishes, the whole thing. Now while dinner's prepping, I put all our dinner plates and I put all of our lunch containers out. And so when I serve dinner, I'm like, like a food, like a cafeteria lady. I'm like, blop, 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 on every plate. And it's just like I just imagine that I had more people over for dinner and I just served 3 more. And so it's so much easier. And then I just leave it out because it's hot. So I just leave it. And then when dinner's over, I just have to come cover everything, put it away, and then we can take care of cleaning up. So it just kind of keeps your flow going because you're already doing it. It's so much easier. So that to me is a huge time saver. What else? I'm going to think. So you girls want to interject with some of yours? Because I'm going to look up what I had written. I can't remember. What were you guys going to share? Whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Well, there's a couple things for me. I mean, because I have the girls, so what happens is that I'm always thinking not just for myself, because then I have the whole issue with when I'm preparing my stuff, that what am I going to make for them, or and then it complicates it. So I try to get things that everybody's going to kind of be okay with, like having, and snacks and stuff like that. So what I do is if I buy fruits and everything, I tend to like wash them right away. And I actually put them in like clear containers, any of those containers in the fridge that you can actually see what's in them. And it just so happens that happened to me a couple times where I would buy like a bag of grapes, and I'd put them in the fridge and nobody would touch the grapes. Like they would literally go bad. I'd have to throw them away because they'd rot. I mean, I'd have my share, but I can't have a lot, so I'd have my portion, and then it was a whole bag. So what I did was I started washing all the grapes, like taking them off the stems and everything, putting them in a container. And of course, it's so much more convenient. Everybody's willing to, grab and go, even myself, because when I'm going to have a piece of fruit, if I know it's already washed, or a veggie that's already cut up, I'm more likely to reach for it and have it as a snack than if I have to go and cut and prepare. Sometimes I just don't have the time for it. Or you put them in like Ziploc bags. I use Ziploc bags a lot, like to, store and separate them so that I have already the portions. So if I'm running late, I don't have to like at that moment start, cutting. I do that also with all the stuff when I'm going to cook, like the onions and the garlic. I'll cut extra, like mince, because at that moment, those things take so much time, especially for some people that are cooking in the evenings when they get home from work, and not everybody, gets home super early. So I know that it's kind of like you're in a crunch for, like preparing and stuff. And those things take a lot of time. They're the stuff that I notice takes the most time for me, and it's the most kind of, annoying to do. So I just kind of get them done ahead of time. And then I think also another thing is like whenever I'm cooking meals, I try to make sure that I do different like meals. Like I'll do something like maybe in the oven, like which will be maybe like a breakfast type thing, like a frittata or any of those things that you can throw all kinds of veggies in it. Like if with eggs, you can put some tomatoes and spinach, and you just kind of pop it in the oven. So that's going, and maybe you can have something in your slow cooker, like another meal, that you can pop in there. So you don't have to really be watching that stuff, so much. And then you can have, if you're going to be doing like the day that you do the most, all your meal prepping, where you're going to do the most of it. I know some people, like Maria was mentioning, she doesn't really like to cook her meats and stuff so much, in advance. But if there's some people that it's just, that works for them because of the time and everything, I think that that's always good, because you get a lot more done all at the same time, as opposed to cooking everything that you're going to cook on the stove. So you have to stop. And just things like that. There's just so many different things. Also, I one of the things that I heard today in the test group that I saw this video, this woman was talking about, and I think that's a big deal for me, is I hate to throw away food. Like like when you make too many things. So what she does is that she goes and she does like a inventory in her pantry. She goes and she sees everything that she has. She says, sometimes it may not be what I really want to eat, but I'm not looking at it like as so much as what I want, more so looking at it like it's fuel for my body. So I'm going into the pantry and I'll see if I have this and this. Okay, how can I put this together, with like, thinking in mind your containers, like your greens, your yellows, all that stuff, so that you can actually try to save money. Because I think one of the biggest complaints that I remember hearing was it's so expensive to eat healthy. You have to buy all these things. And then really what's happening is that a lot of people have a lot of waste, food that goes to waste, and they want to try new things like you were saying, and it makes it a little bit more complicated. Plus, you end up spending, I think, more money that way. So I think those are some of the tips that I guess I have.
I've been adding the grapes, like you were talking about, washing them. Same thing was happening here. I've been putting them in mason jars, the really big ones.
Yes.
And they last forever, super fresh. You can do that with all the fruits, but I find that with the grapes, and they look so pretty that you just want to grab them and eat them.
Right.
And then what I was doing, even in the little ones, no, not the little ones, the big ones, I've been taking them to work. So I have it in my fridge, like I don't know how many ounces, like 16 ounces of grapes. So then I can just grab from there. So I take them on Monday and I have them at school. So I don't have to, stress out every day about taking like those little things. That's another thing. If you have access to a fridge at work, take stuff at the beginning of the week, and that way you're every single day, you're not in that mad dash in the morning to get everything in there. I do the same thing with the salads, like in the little mason jars. I take a bunch and I leave them in my fridge. The dressing, same thing. Because, things happen, and then
right.
You're running around like a lunatic, and we have kids, so your priority is for their time and all that. So I just have it as much as I can at school, ready to go for me. Maria, did you want to share?
Yes. Well, Norales kind of touched on it. I'm sorry. Do you guys hear an echo? It's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know what. Hello? I think it's gone.
Yes.
Touched on it. I don't like really to prep I'm like the worst meal prepper. Like, you're going to kick me out of this call for even saying this. Because I will not spend all of Sunday cooking. And plus, I don't like meat a few days in advance. Stuff that it goes in sauces, I think might be better a few days, for a few days. But if it's like roasted chicken or no. So, but I think a good tip is like the basic stuff, like your brown rice, your spaghetti squash that you can basically do with anything. Steamed or roasted veggies, any of your starches, your sweet potatoes, all of that stuff. That is like an easy, like Sunday prep, or whenever you do meal prep, put them all together and just separate them into little containers, and whatever meal you do, you can put it on top of that stuff. And that's, a huge saver, because those things, if you're steaming them, takes a while. If you're boiling them, takes a while. So that was one thing, and that I actually do. I always try to have those, especially with these breakfasts that we're doing now. Like, now it's not just a shake.
Exactly.
And even like I've been doing the Whole30, like my breakfasts are getting complicated. It's been so convenient to just have a sweet potato ready and like throw eggs on it. Another tip I had, so the herbs, and kind of Norales also touched on this, having like your onions chopped, your garlic minced, and all of that. But the herbs, not every recipe, it's very hard to find the same recipe with the same herbs. And herbs to me are expensive, and they go bad so freaking fast. So a tip that I saw on Pinterest was to get the herbs and chop them up. Also, chopping them up takes time. Putting them in like an ice cube tray, filling them up with a little bit of olive oil and water, and put them in the freezer. When you're ready to use them, just, put them in the pan or whatever. And obviously melt with the olive oil. Or like I'm thinking of getting like an herb saver or something for that, but that's obviously not time saving. It's more like money saving. Something else I thought of. Well, I don't like to cook the meat, but it is super convenient to have it. Like, if you have your meat and you need your chicken in cubes one day, you need your chicken breast like sliced for, filleted. That type of stuff does take time. And for me, like, I get home at 7, and that's the time, we start preparing. having like once you get home from the grocery and chopping up your your chicken, or I buy the Costco chicken breasts, so they're very thick and I like them thinner, so I like to cut them in half and have them ready or in chunks. And then or separating your ground meat if you're gonna do different stuff with it, like just have it ready for whatever you're going to be doing if you're not going to be cooking it, or season it and put it in Ziploc bags and either put it in the freezer or in your fridge for a few days depending on how long you're going to take to cook it. And that way it's ready, because that's really what takes the longest, not actually cooking. I mean, most meats are ready in like 10 minutes. It's the cutting the vegetables, the cutting the getting all the seasonings ready. Maybe having like, I do my own taco seasoning, so having that type of stuff where you need, you're always going to use the same seasoning for tacos or Taco Tuesday, making your own little taco seasoning and have that ready for when you're ready to like season your meat. And I think that's it. And don't stress it. I know that can get very stressful, but if you're just prepared and even mentally have like a list prepared, that's half the battle. I think like getting home and then trying to decide where you're going to eat is just a headache.
Awesome. Thank you. Rosie?
Okay, well, you guys talked about everything. I think the biggest thing is the planning, because like you said, people get overwhelmed. They look at the list and they're like, oh my God, what am I going to, what I try to do is on Saturday, before I go to the grocery store, I look at what am I in the mood to eat this week. Like this week, most of what I did was ground turkey and chicken. And then I bought that nitrate-free turkey or whatever for whenever I can stick it in there. So the biggest thing is seeing what you want to eat and keep it simple at the beginning until you get used to it. And like with this program, I was already used to doing the other stuff, but now with the whole waking up, and you all know I get up at the crack of dawn to work out. So this is usually my bedtime. The whole eating in the morning and what am I going to eat in the morning? I did those egg cups for the entire week, because even though I'm like, so tired of egg already, that's what I want to have. Today I had shake first because I had to go to my other office and I don't have a blender in the other office in Kendall, but just planning ahead of time. So yesterday I switched it. Last night I figured out what I had to do. I switched it up, made sure that my shake was ready for the morning, and then what I was going to take after for my post meal. So it's just keeping it simple. One thing I did on Sunday, I agree with Maria. Sometimes you spend Sunday hours meal prepping. I don't like doing for the whole week. I usually like doing for a couple of days through Wednesday, and then maybe on Wednesday, then do for the rest of the week. But again, everybody's different. The fruits, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. The fruits, what I did this week was I did do my berries for the whole week. I put them in Ziploc bags. So now it's just every morning I just pick it up, put it in my lunchbox, and take it. If you do have a refrigerator, believe it or not, I have one in my office, and I don't take everything on Monday because I don't know why I don't do that, but I need to start doing it. So just keeping it simple, make your list and only get what you know you're going to eat. I'm with Nodales. It's happened before where I've gone and I've gotten food, and by the end of the week, I haven't cooked it and it's already gotten bad, and that's an issue because you're wasting money and you're wasting food that other people can be obviously eating. There's one other thing, the cutting up of everything early. Well, I like peppers in everything. So I usually will cut up on Sunday and I have bowls and bowls of peppers. The kids now, they love peppers. Before they would not eat peppers. They would not eat mushroom. They've gotten used to it. So, and the recipes, pick one or two to try and just try those for a couple of weeks. Don't overdo it. Like Susan said, you see so many recipes. Oh, I want to try this one, this one, this one. It becomes overwhelming. And once you get overwhelmed, it's the easiest way to say, I can't do this anymore. And that's what I hear a lot from people that have started or people that I talk to about what I'm doing, because they ask, what are you doing? And then when you tell them, oh, it sounds like a lot of work, and it's not. It's just wrapping your mind around it. And once you do it, then it's easy once you get used to it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I was just going to add, like, we were talking about the cutting of the veggies and all of that. If like, for example, if I know I'm going to make something in the slow cooker, I get all that stuff, I chop it up and I put it in a Ziploc bag. And you've seen all that like over, all over Pinterest, but it really works. And then in the morning, you just literally dump the Ziploc bag into your thing, put whatever protein it is you're going to cook in there, and you can leave it cooking. Or you can even do that on the weekend, but you already cut it up. So maybe one day you were making something else and you're like, oh, Saturday I'm going to cook this. Chop extra, like they were saying, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then Saturday, Sunday, whenever you meal prep, it's one less thing. It's like, you guys said, you might as well, if you're already, washing and cutting up potatoes, do 2, 3, 4 extra. It's not going to take you a lot longer because you're already doing it at the same time. So like that batch prepping. And I'm with all of you. I don't cook my meals in advance at all. I don't like them in advance, but I do season everything, put it in the freezer already seasoned, so that it's like easy. I take it out in the morning, put it in the fridge, and then I can just cook it because it doesn't take that long. So what I prep, when I say meal prepping, I prep salads. I'll cook like beans or something like that. The carbs, like Maria was saying, the potatoes, the rice, all of that. The egg cups, Sunday night, that like was a staple for me forever. That's my meal prepping. I know you see people that like cook chicken breast and they have like all these little containers with the chicken breast and the broccoli. I can't do that. Like I could not
Especially for 80 days. We're not going to be
Yes.
eating a boiled chicken and broccoli and brown rice for 80 days.
I can't. So I've never done that. I don't like that. Virginia, I don't know if you have any tips or anything that come to your mind, but I wanted to touch because we all have kids, and a lot of people get freaked out because maybe their kids don't eat, all these things that we're mentioning, especially the younger ones. And so like, how do we deal with, you're making yourself something, and ideally in a perfect world, yes, they eat everything you eat. Like, especially now with 80 day, we're a little bit like overboard right now. We're a little crazy. Like I can't have a yellow now. I can only have a red. It's like, oh, but your kid wants the yellow, so how do we deal with a picky spouse, picky kids, all that stuff, to not, we're not short order cooks. So anyone wants to chime in? What do you guys do? Anyone?
I think no, go ahead, because my kids are the worst. I was going to say my kids are the worst example, and they're the smallest and the biggest struggle. So I am like a shorter order cook for them.
Yeah, well, sometimes that happens to me. Like my girls, my oldest, she's really good. She's actually, she'll eat the same stuff that I make, and she doesn't mind it. And she actually now is, because she's in color guard, so now she's, watching what she eats, and so which is great because it helps me. But my youngest, she's very particular about what she likes, and so if I'm gonna make something, like I made meatballs, with like in this sauce, and it was something that I made in the slow cooker. What I did was that if I know that I can't have like regular pasta, let's say, with it, then I make sure that to make like regular pasta that they would like, so that they could be able to have it. Like I try to think of, if I'm gonna make tacos, and they're gonna have like the the regular
Tortilla.
Tacos, and I'll have the corn, you know what I mean? So like I'm still kind of participating in the same meal, but like I'm modifying it for myself to what I can have, but towards something enjoyable that they'll want, and I'll maybe put more cheese on theirs. Like last night I made tacos and mine didn't have any cheese, but theirs did, so stuff like that. And then there'll be some days where, yes, I'll go ahead and, like, if I got to order a pizza, I try not to, because I want to encourage them to have, the same foods. But if I see that, like, it's not going to happen, like today I was running kind of late and I had food, but I knew they weren't going to eat what I was going to make, then, okay, I'll order a pizza. I don't do it often, but if I have to, I'm not going to feel guilty about doing it. Sometimes I know they're kids and stuff like that, so I don't want to pressure them, but they do. They're good. I think one of the biggest things is just making sure that whatever things that they like, that maybe you just kind of modify it and use different ingredients. A lot of times they can't even tell. Like if it's something that you usually have, whether it's pasta or lasagna, or I guess it depends what your family likes, what they usually tend to have, but whatever you usually have, there's a lot of ways that you can modify it. Instead of using like the heavy cream, you can use, sometimes almond milk, and they can't
they really can't tell the difference, you know, and it kind of makes it to where you can still have those same meals. And if you gotta add a little extra for them, it's no big deal. But I think that's kind of how I do it so that way, you know, it's not overwhelming for me. I don't have to be cooking too many different things. And they still kind of feel like, oh, you know, we're all having the same type of meals. It's not entirely, you know, different. I mean, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, she's not a perfect eater either. She doesn't like the veggies, so I have to hide them into things. Fruits, same thing. It's a mission. So, you know, she's
I think it's harder when they're younger.
Yeah.
Because mine at first, like I said, mine were like, no way, no way, no way. But then they tried it. And like my daughter now has Frappuccinos with almond milk. And so does my son. And they're like, no way. But they tried it. And then it was like, okay. And the same thing with the veggies. But usually like I'll have brown rice, they'll have white rice. The good thing for me is that I have another person that'll cook in the house. I'm not the only cook. So that helps. So I make my food and he makes their food and his food. So, but for the most part, they like eating about the same thing. So it's not too bad. They eat bigger portions.
Like Noralis was saying, like it's like tacos, it's a perfect example. I'm going to have wheat or I'm going to have lettuce wraps, but the meat is the same. You know, it's just like, that's why I love it, because you can configure it anyway. You just have everything out there and, you know, you have it this way, I'm going to have it my way kind of thing. And if you have the base, like you have chicken breast, oh my gosh, you know, they can have whatever you're going to give them and you just have a salad with that chicken breast. Like, so it's keeping it to simple things, simple foundations that you can build meals around that without going crazy. The beans, like for example, I had beans today, no rice. They had white rice. And like, if you make it enough in advance, you have enough for a few days and it's there. You know, if I wanted brown, I would have made myself brown. So, and usually what happens is I don't want to go through the trouble of making the white and the brown. So then I just won't have the brown, which is better because I should, you know, it's like one of those, it's a healthy carb, but there are other better carbs, right, than that. So, and I used to always have rice every single day. It was like a staple. And now I don't. So.
What we did today, we had chicken and veggies, and then I had to make a pot of pasta for Mila because she just eats pasta and chicken nuggets. And so the hubby and the Mila had the pasta, and I just had veggies and chicken. But
yeah,
she's got her limited 4-thing menu right now.
Hey, you can bulk prepare her pasta, right? You can make
Yes.
And chicken nuggets.
And chicken nuggets. So, and you can make them a little bit
I've tricked her with spaghetti squash, though. If you put enough Parmesan cheese on it, she thinks it's pasta.
awesome.
There you go. That's a great tip. Add a lot of cheese. Listen, whatever works, right? So little by little, even like Lily, she loves beans, so she'll have brown rice if they're smothered in beans. She'll eat the brown rice. If I just give her the brown rice, she won't eat it. You know, so you just kind of have to pizza, same thing. If it has a lot of cheese on it, I can give her like a healthier crust, you know, and she'll go for it. So it's just making your life simple, but still not sacrificing, because that's like the mom guilt thing that, oh my God, they have to eat, you know, and then you sacrifice and then you just eat junk, even though you know you're not supposed to, or you shouldn't, or you don't want to. But so little things to make it work. My only last tip that I had that I didn't say at the beginning is whatever meal planner you use, save them, do not toss them. So whether it's that napkin in your car or Post-it notes or a note in your phone, save them. Then you can just reuse this thing. Like, I think a lot of us keep making new ones every week. I don't know why, but reuse them. Like, you know, chances are you're making the same things anyway. So just pull that baby out. You have it done. And I, you know, keep it together with my little grocery list. And I'm guilty. I just rewrite it every week. I don't know why, but that would be a great thing if you can get into that habit of saving them and recycle them. That's a great tip. Like, so do as I say, not as I do. But that would be great. That's it. Can you guys think of anything else?
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Yes.
I think that's probably the biggest thing is, keeping it simple.
Yep.
Because I think that's kind of like the misconception that, oh, it's so complicated and they do so much and really after you're comfortable with it, that you've been doing it for some time, yeah, you can go experiment. And even then you kind of, sometimes you're like, I don't even want to because sometimes it's not worth it, the amount of time that you spend doing all these other things. But yeah, keeping it simple is, I think, the biggest key to where you feel like you have control of everything that you're doing, because you have to, fit in your time to be able to exercise and your meals, and you still have your daily, responsibilities. So this is something that shouldn't feel overwhelming. It should just be like just a natural part of your day. I mean, as much as possible, obviously.
I wanted to mention eating out, because that's just life. We all go out to dinner, and so I think sometimes what happens is you're going to go out on Saturday or Sunday, and kind of like the whole day kind of is shot with your eating. I'm going to eat out, I don't know. It's like this thing, it's just a habit that we have. So what I find helpful is knowing, okay, when I go to dinner, you kind of usually know where you're going to go, what kind of food at least you're going to have. I'm going to have a green, a red, a yellow, a blue, whatever. I'm going to save that for dinner. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to configure my meal at that restaurant or at the party or wedding or whatever it is I'm going. That's what I'm going to eat. And that way, the rest of the day, I don't have to completely mess it up. I can have my other containers throughout the day, but you have to plan ahead. Otherwise, you're going to have, 2 pancakes for breakfast, and there went your 2 yellows. And then you go to dinner, and you're like, oh, well, and there went everything. So,
and if you're doing 80 days, you can't do 2 yellows.
No. I don't even know. I can't even talk about it, but
one other thing when you go to the restaurant that I remember hearing, and I thought it was a good tip, is that, a lot of times you go to places and they give you like a lot of food, and even if it's healthy food, it's a lot of food. So this one person I remember, she said that from the beginning, when you're going to get your food, ask for a to-go container. So right away, when you get your food, you have your container and you separate. You can, at that point, unless you're that, willing to take your containers, you probably at that point can already kind of eyeball, what you should be having portion-wise, and then just separate that into a to-go, container, and then you have your meal. Because if you have it and you're obviously probably enjoying it, you're more likely to overeat because it's there in the plate, But if you package it right away immediately, you're more willing to say, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm going to have, and that's that. So
my coworker does that every time we go out to eat. As soon as she orders it, she says, and bring me a box. And as soon as they bring it, she puts it away, and she has the discipline. I've tried it before. I do it sometimes, and sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm still, but for us doing this now, and if you're really, really doing it and you want to do it 100%, then that's the best thing to do. That's what I did today, because I was driving home. I worked in Kendall, had to take my daughter to Pembroke Pines. I said, oh no, I took her to the ale house. I ordered mahi with a baked potato, and I said, bring me the box. And I have now my lunch for tomorrow. So
yeah.
No cooking for me.
It is doable. We can eat out. You can have a life. You can go to parties. Just plan ahead and take it easy and just enjoy. All right, Lee. Thank you so much. This was really good. Get ideas off each other, and I'll post this in the group so we can share it with other people. Okay.
All right.
Perfect. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.